Welcome to Self-Love Portrait, a show that gives you a deeper look into a female's journey of self-love, acceptance, body image, and personal growth. Join me for honest conversations with inspiring women about self-care, healing, and dealing with the challenges of life. Trust me, you're not alone in this journey. I'm your host, Idit Nissenbaum, a multimedia artist and a self-love portrait expert who have photographed and empowered dozens of women around the world so they can show up and build their own self-confidence and express their true essence. This is where you discover that loving yourself is not a selfish act, but it's actually the starting point of every healing journey. I invite you to listen, learn, and be inspired to love yourself more and taking care of your mind, body, and soul. Hello, gorgeous, and welcome to Self-Love Portrait. Thank you for joining me today as I'm hosting the amazing Grace of Tan. So let's bring her on. Welcome to Self-Love Portrait.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yay! I'm very excited and happy that we got to know each other and connect to have this experience together.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So first, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself, just in general, so others can get to know you better.
So I've just turned 30. I'm originally from Israel, like you. I've been living in Australia for just about 7 years. And I think like any woman, I've had ups and downs with self-love, both from a mental perspective, physical perspective. I think we all struggle a little bit. And for me, it's been in recent years that I got into a little bit of self-development and self-improvement. And I'm not a very spiritual person, but I am a strong believer that we have the power to improve ourselves if we just try. And if we put enough effort into it, you will succeed. There's nothing in the, nothing actually stopping you.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
It's a little bit about me.
Yay, beautiful. Thank you for that. So let's just dive into the questions.
Yes.
What does self-love means to you?
Self-love. I think it starts with acceptance. So not to try and negotiate things that either happened to you because people have done things to you, or even things that you've done that you regret. I think that as humans, we tend to focus on things that we don't want and we wish didn't happen, and we're kind of in the negative zone. But self-love, starting from self-acceptance, is to understand that the past and is the past, and there's nothing you can do to control it. It's gone. Though that's the good news and bad news sometimes, but it's all a matter of perspective. So I think that if you are self-loving, or to get to self-love, then you just accept that things happen, but it doesn't have to define you. And even bad experiences can actually be of a good consequence to you and to your life.
So true. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it's really about accept and not
Rejection.
Not reject things that happen to us or part of us in our body. Yeah. How do you nourish your body, mind, soul?
Well, I've had a journey with food as well. I come from a bit of an unhealthy kitchen background between my Moroccan background and my Tunisian background. Lots of very unhealthy oils and lots of meats. And I was always feeling very sick growing up. I was a bit of a sick child. And when I was between 18 and 20, I really struggled. So for me, in order to nourish my body, I knew that I needed to make a few changes to how I eat. It took me years to actually take it seriously enough. And then I studied just a few online courses, with nutrition, and I read a few books to understand how to nourish your body. And then I think once I got that sorted, I understood that there's also mental side to it. You can't just focus on healthy food. You need to focus on a healthy self. So a healthy you is someone that is able to combine those two. And how I nourish is through good food. And I make sure that almost every day I do something that I love. I don't just live the day passively. You can't be in the driver's seat of your own experience of life. You have to actively do things that you love. So I love cooking, so I might do that. Sometimes I love just watching a show on Netflix and turning my brain off. Sometimes I love sitting in the sun. I quite like that. So I've got a nice balcony. All the chairs are pretty strategically placed for me to be able to go at any time of the day and get some sun.
Nice.
And I do feel like that nourishes me and myself, my inner self.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, I think it's so important to know yourself and know what is good for you. Especially that you come from your background to a decision of I'm going to nourish myself and I'm going to make myself the food that I like, that I know it's good for me, for my body and my soul. It's really beautiful inspiration. Yeah, thank you. Have you ever had issues with body image?
Oh, of course. I mean, I actually find it difficult to believe that there are women who didn't. But I was, I would say, fortunate enough to get there at a very late age. So all throughout high school, even, 18 or my teen years, I was very oblivious to the fact that there are women who don't feel good about their body. And I just didn't care very much. I was skinny, I was athletic, I worked out. I never really thought about it. And then I think when I started gaining a little bit of weight, when I moved to Australia, I guess my issue was that I felt like I was losing my body, like it wasn't my body anymore. So I was so not used to weighing almost 10 kilos more than I usually did. I was very inactive. I was a little bit depressed as well. It just kind of all seemed very low on energy. So altogether, it wasn't a good recipe for me feeling good about my body. And I think that, obviously, you can't be super happy in your life and gain all that weight and still feel good about yourself. So everything comes together. It's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
And you need to get out of it somehow, which I was lucky to be powerful enough by that age to do that without causing any damage to my body. Because like I said, I always knew I needed to change my diet and take things into my own two hands and not just be a passive passenger when it comes to how I nourish my body. So I went and I studied, and within a few months, I dropped those kilos without even trying very hard. Like I wasn't on a diet and I wasn't stressing, definitely wasn't counting calories or anything else that I think is just not healthy.
Yeah.
You should be able to eat the right things as much as you want. You couldn't eat enough vegetables to actually cause you any harm. And that's what you should do. You should actually do mostly plant-based food, which you know that I'm plant-based. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of it. Just accepting that you haven't nourished your body well. That's why it looks in a way that you don't appreciate. But as soon as I got back to my, okay weight, I think that it always goes up and down 3 kilos, and that's okay. It's just like, the holidays, you've eaten a little bit too much. All right, let's, look after what we're eating in the next month or two, and you'll be fine. And you'll get back to the weight that you like being in. But I think that putting the stress factor on what you look like and, oh my God, I can't fit into these pants anymore, that's not going to be helpful. And that's not going to get you to a healthy state. So it needs to come from a healthy mindset.
Yeah, I really agree. It sounds like you also, when you were at this stage of extra 10 kilos, you were very compassionate with yourself, understanding the situation that you're at.
Yeah. I had someone when I was very young, like a beautiful woman, say something to me that really stuck with me. She said, whenever you talk to yourself as if you're a friend or your mom or someone talks to you with love. And even if they have a nickname for you, use that nickname to address yourself. because we tend to be a bit self-demeaning or a bit too harsh on ourselves. You know, oh my God, I'm an idiot. Why did I do this? You're such an idiot. And we wouldn't accept anyone else talking to us that way. So why would you accept yourself talking to you that way? So I think from a very young age, I was able to not do that. Even when I feel that thought coming in, you know, you've got the back of your mind and the front of your mind.
Yeah.
It's in the back of my mind. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. What did I just do? And sometimes I do really stupid stuff. But I'm not, but I'm not such an idiot. You know, it was just a stupid thing that I did. Like I spilled whatever. I wasn't thinking. I touched a hot pan, whatever. It's fine. Doesn't really matter. And actually that's what I say. And like my mom's voice in my own head, like, it's okay. It doesn't really matter. You're fine.
Yeah. That is a great advice, actually. And what age did you hear it?
I think 16 or 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good age to hear it. I think it's a good advice for the, you know, to grow up and understand that, because sometimes even some people, we can be to the outside very friendly, but in our mind, there are voices, very critical voices.
Yeah.
And so it's very good that you tell this voice in your head, hey, let's be best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be my best friend. Because, you know, if you can't be nice to me, then why should anyone else?
Right. What struggles did you have about loving yourself as you were growing up? For example, changes in the body. You know, as a woman, we have started to like, oh, what is that? I have boobies. Oh, what is that? I have hair on my...
Actually, haven't thought about this in years. But when I was 11 and 12 and 13, all of my friends have already gotten their period. And they started developing. They started having, you know, like that curves. They started getting boobs. Their boobs got a little bit bigger. And they were becoming a little bit more curvy. And I had nothing. I was a child. I got my period. I was like the last one to get her period. And my mom always used to tell me the horror stories of her only getting her period when she was 18.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's
late. Really, really late. So I was always afraid that I won't have any boobs, you know, in high school. Like, I'm just going to be this flat person. And then I obviously ended up getting my period when I was, I think, 13 or so, which is quite late anyway. But it was fine. I think that it was just a mix of me being a bit skinny and genetics, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But my boobs never quite grew to the size that I would want them to grow.
I know it's a common.
I think lots of women see themselves as, you know, I wish I had this different and I wish I had that different. And I remember being, a 12-year-old without even getting my period, and I could see all my friends looking so amazing. And, you know, I wasn't jealous in a bad way. I was like, oh my God, I have to have boobs. Oh, please just give me a little bit of boobs. Give me something. Give me anything. I'll even take really big ones, like just uncomfortable ones. Just anything. Anything is better than what I have now. And then I think eventually I just understood that it is what it is. Wishing for it to be different only makes me feel bad and doesn't actually change the situation. And then I finally said to myself, when you're 18, if you hate your boobs so much, just get a surgery and get it done. Like if it really will bother you so much, just get a surgery and get it done. And then, you know, obviously when I was 18, I completely grew out of it. I was fine with the size of my boobs. They're quite small, but that's how I like it. I'm not against plastic surgery if you can't really accept something about yourself. That's completely your prerogative and you should be able to go and do it.
Yeah.
But I felt like I didn't really have to. So it was good.
Nice. You just reminded me that like for me it was the opposite. I was one of the first ones that got boobs, and I
would have been so jealous of you.
And I was so ashamed of that. I didn't know how to accept it. Wow. I was going very...
How old were you when it started?
Around 10.
Oh my God.
Very early age. I was only one of the only girls in the class. And I remember, you know, the boys are coming, and this is the age where you're also taller than the boys. So they were the same height as my boobs, and just looking straight and like, hey, I'm here. And I was very ashamed of that. And it took me years. Like my mom was like, Idit, your bra. I'm like, it's not a bra. It's a top. Like, don't call it a bra. I was really against it. But I remember that I had some friends that didn't really develop at that age, that early. So I remember we took socks And we just put them in their shirts. Yeah.
Of course.
I feel like it's an age where you feel like, oh, I have to be in this certain way. Because all my friends are like that. We're very...
When you're unusual,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to feel like you do fit in. Yeah. Yeah. There are extremes, right? Some people are just like, they don't even think about it. Like some people had it before, they were kind of in the middle, then some people didn't. But they're like, I think you and I are two extremes in that regard.
Yeah, that's true. How do you think you can give yourself more self-love?
I think I could spend more time doing more things that I love or prioritizing that over other stuff.
Like what?
Like I sometimes would over prioritize helping people or talking to people or doing stuff for people rather than look after myself or do anything that I want to do during that day or so, like during that time.
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes I need to, as much as I want to help, I think there's also a virtue for being able to look after yourself.
So important. Yeah, because if you can't help yourself first, you can't help others.
No, you can't. Yeah, and you need to have that strength.
Yeah, you're a strong woman. So now I want to ask some questions about the photoshoot.
Yeah.
So this project is the Naked Truth. And I want to know, how did you feel before the Naked Truth photoshoot? And if you had any doubts or fears before?
Yes, I did. I'm very shy. So the reason I actually decided to go for it is because I heard a really nice saying once and it kind of stuck with me. And this was the first time I had an opportunity to act on it. And the sentence was like something along the lines of how to know if you need to seize an opportunity. Number one was, is it a once-off? And number two was, do you think it will make you happy? So is it a once-off? If it's not a once-off and you could possibly maybe do it again, then you don't really have to seize it if you're not sure. But if it's a once-off and you probably won't get an opportunity to do it again, and you think it might make you happy, set everything aside. Set your fear, for me, set my shame, because I'm a very timid person around cameras. Set it all aside because the opportunity will not come back again, probably.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to go ahead and do it. But it didn't like I was determined to do it. But going into the shoot, I still felt like hesitant and a bit timid and definitely camera shy. Yeah. And now, to your question, how I feel now, I feel better. I feel a bit more calm. I feel relaxed. I feel happy that I did it. Because actually it wasn't that bad. It was actually quite fun. It was good music, nice talking to you. You made me feel really comfortable. And I definitely got to talk about a few things that I haven't talked about, or form some thoughts that, were kind of floating around but didn't really come together for me for a while or at all, maybe. So I'd say it was a very good experience.
Yay. Makes me very happy to hear that.
Yay.
So would you say during the photo shoot, did you see or feel the connection between being naked and expose yourself, to your thoughts? Like you take the clothes off your brain in a way.
Yeah, like taking the layers off.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Because I think that when we have clothes, when we put on clothes, we put it on for other people, right? None of us go around the house and put on really nice clothes and just like hang around. No. For me, most of the time I've got my bathrobe or I'm just naked anyway.
Yeah.
So that's who you are to yourself. You usually, or at least I don't feel like I need to hide my body, my thoughts from myself. So for me, putting myself out there and taking everything off and then also having such an intimate conversation while doing it, I definitely could see the connection. And it did make me feel more connected and like it was okay and acceptable, and whatever it is that I went through got me to this point. Physically, even if I'm not very happy, even if I feel like my tummy's a bit bloated today, or emotionally, if I feel like, I've had a tough year, it doesn't matter. I'm here right now and this is who I am, and it is what it is. It doesn't really mean that I should be ashamed or feel any different.
Mm-hmm. Make me want to cry.
Don't cry.
What have you learned about yourself from being photographed?
What have I learned? I think I learned that I can do that. I'm not a person who lets go very easily, and I'm always restrained to some extent. I'm always planning ahead. I never quite just go with the flow. I'm just not that kind of person. But this morning I kind of set my intentions to letting go. And in the beginning, the very start of it, the little, quick meditation that we did and you guided me through, I thought really helped me like make those decisions actively. I will go with the flow. I will do anything that I think is a once-off and I won't get another opportunity to do it. I will do anything that Idit says that I should do because it's her process. So trust the process, trust the person, let yourself be led. You're not going to lead, you're not going to control, you're not going to know what comes next. You're just going to go with it because you actually do trust Idit. It's not, your friends, it's all good. Yeah. She's not a stranger and nothing bad's going to happen. So I think that's what I learned, that I can let go, probably under the right circumstances. However, I would like to be more like that in the future, maybe. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and what you mentioned about the meditation, I really see it as very important act to add an intention. Because if you just go on like, I'm gonna do like cool photo shoot, it's gonna look nice. It's not about that. No. It's really about the experience and the journey that you go.
I agree. Yeah. And it's interesting because when we looked through the photos, most of the ones that I liked didn't quite see my face clearly. It's not because I don't think I've got a good face. I actually quite like my face. It's a nice face. But it was more around, I think that the photos that were a little bit more maybe artistic, had a little bit more emotion to them, were a little bit more natural.
With the movement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I didn't feel like I was posing. It didn't feel unnatural.
Yeah. Great. Yay. That was also my intention. Well, this is just a general question, not related to specific the photo shoot today, but I think it relates. Do you feel connected to yourself? Do you observe your feelings and emotions?
Sometimes. I don't think I can definitively answer if it's a yes or no. I think that under particular circumstances, I've got a really good ability to take a step back and look at myself, how I'm reacting, if I'm triggered, what's making me feel this way. And in some situations, I feel like I just get carried away with my feeling and I don't actually stop to think about why or if it is the right way for me to behave right now. Sometimes my primal brain goes first. And that's when I think I'm not as connected as I could be.
And can you recognize those situations?
Oh yeah, after. Yeah. Absolutely, after. Like I call it autopilot.
Yeah. It is autopilot in a way.
Yeah.
For all of us. Yeah. It's very natural to feel, and usually we're, just flying, where am I flying to?
Yeah.
Maybe I should take a break in Hawaii.
Maybe we all should.
Do you think that self-love is important?
Yes, of course.
Why?
I think self-love is the only way you can give and receive love. If you don't love yourself, literally the person you are, the body you have, the life that you've had, the lessons you've learned, even the trouble that you've gone through, you will never be able to accept other people for what it is that they've gone through. And I think that you see that quite a bit. You see people who were troubled in their past and they're just not able to love as openly and be okay with it because they've never gone through a journey of accepting and, being okay with what happened to them. People call it forgiveness. I think that forgiveness has a multitude of meanings. But to me, it's not really, I wouldn't use the term forgiveness. I would say accept it, because you can't argue with it. It's a fact that it's happened. Either you've done something bad or something has been done to you. Once you accept it, you'll be able to also accept other things happening in your life and in other people's life without letting it affect you so much.
Yeah.
Because you know who you are, and you are that person in any situation. You're not less of a person because you've been thrown into something that you can't control, or even if you could control and you didn't quite, it doesn't really matter. The point is that you know who you are, and you need to be strong. You need to have a strong mind in certain situations,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely. Amen to that. What do you wish you had known when you were a little girl?
That it's okay to not fit in. There's another saying that I heard a while back that really stuck with me. Don't try to fit in if you were born to stand out. I never quite felt like I fitted in. Now I do, with my friends here, with friends that I handpicked and made sure that, I love and they love me. And, I'm very fortunate to have amazing friends. But growing up, I never quite fitted in. Like, I was a bit of a smart ass. Sometimes I was popular. Sometimes I didn't want to be popular. So I struggled with that, with my kind of anxiety, social anxiety almost.
Yeah.
And I never quite liked the attention of being a good-looking woman. Like, I always felt like a little bit intimidated by it. I never wanted people to look at me as an object.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always found that to be really maybe demeaning, or because I think that for some reason, society tends to accept a good-looking guy who's also smart and successful and amazing, and he's great. But it's a little bit more difficult with a woman, for people to accept a woman who's funny, who's got a good sense of humor, built herself up. I've had a lot of people, come to my house and make some really insulting comments.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, who was supporting me? Because I've got a nice house. So who's supporting me? How did I get to making so much money?
By yourself. They are like shocked by that, probably.
Yeah, for them, It's like, well, you don't look like a person who's smart enough to be making that much money. How can that be? And even today in the corporate world, I walk into a room and I am the only person who looks like me in that room. So I don't fit in. And as a little girl, I think that I would have been very intimidated in that situation. Sometimes I still can be. But then I tell myself, you don't have to try and fit in. You do stand out sometimes. Certain situations I do. Certain situations I don't. I stick out like a sore thumb, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing to stick out.
Yeah.
And if people around you can't accept it, then you're not in the right room.
So true. Yeah, and I wish I would hear that as a little girl as well.
That's certainly what I'll tell my children.
Yeah.
You don't always have to feel like you're the same as everyone else. It's actually totally okay to feel like you're not. And it's totally okay to feel like you are. Both are okay.
Yeah.
Because you are still you.
And each one is special in their own way.
Exactly. There's only one person with your DNA combination. And even if you have a twin, you haven't lived exactly the same lives. And you don't love the same things. And you've got different characters. So, yeah, we are unique.
Yeah. Beautiful. So one last advice that you want to give to other women.
Advice. I think that saying to someone, learn to accept yourself or learn to love yourself, is a bit annoying. Because if you don't accept yourself or if you don't love yourself, you're like, oh, great, gee, thanks. If only I thought about just doing the one thing I can't do for some reason. I think I would say, go for the reason. Try and understand what it is that you don't like. And try and understand if there's a legitimate reason you don't like it. And if you can change it, change it. And if you can't change it, then you accept it. Because there is, you need to decide what you want your life to be. A person who doesn't accept certain parts of themselves, certain parts of their past, certain parts of their body, or a person who has come to terms with anything that's been, done to them, they've done, and is just able to move past it and be the creator of their lives instead of a passenger and passive.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your presence and this beautiful journey we had together and your wisdom. And I feel like I've learned a lot from you as well.
Thank you. I feel like I learned from you.
Yay. And I just want to mention that you're working on your food blog.
Yes.
With delicious and healthy vegan recipes. So
that you don't need to feel bad about eating as much as you want.
Yes.
Because there's nothing there you shouldn't be eating.
So exciting.
Yes.
Yes. Finally. The world is waiting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you know you are beautiful and powerful the way you are. And part of this journey is remembering that, seeing that, and walking in the world that way with your own unique power. Each of us is beautiful in her own way, so don't forget to embrace yourself and lift others around you. If you want to discover more about the Naked Truth photo ceremony, please check the details down below this podcast. Have an amazing week ahead, full of love and light. I'll be back next week with another inspiring episode, so stay tuned.